Hello, it's Raina with LYLO Crafts, and today I am coming on with a random ephemera making session. Now, I just finished kind of putting together the base of my fall journal right here. I just finished up, meaning finished writing in the one that I had for spring. Here it is, and you can see it became gator mouth over time. I started by doing the junk journal challenge, and then I was not able to keep up. So I'll just turn this into my own journal as far as doing my Bible study and my quiet time and writing in it. So I just want to show you a few little interactive pieces in here. This is a piece of junk mail, an envelope right here that I bent around the page, glued it down, turned it into a pocket on both sides. And I do have to say that in my own personal journals, I tend to use my scraps and also my junky junk, meaning these junky mail things, calendars that were sent in the mail, so those kinds of things, scrapbook pages, and I do that because I really enjoy that. So these are things I thrifted, and you can see this for sure is a junk mail envelope. So you can just see I'm doing a faster flip through here, but these are just things that were left over, maybe some book pages, just trying to add tabs to things and adding in a few stickers, a few leftover embellishments that are sitting on my desk, things that people might have given me, things I purchased at thrift stores. These are collage tags right here, printables that I have been utilizing, and there's some left over, scrap pieces of fabric, little flatbacks that are sitting around on my desk. So anything that I've got laying around. One of the other things I like to do is add some of the prettier ephemera that I have also created into my journals. So now let's go ahead and shift gears on over to the fall journal and making some ephemera for it. I've got some stuff all put together, and I'm showing you the fabric that I used, where I got that from the Goodwill bins, and I think it's quite beautiful and perfect fabric for the fall. So one of the things I want to do is find a few pages to put some pre-made ephemera that I went to my stash and I got, and I want to find some places to go ahead and put them in this fall journal. So I'm going ahead and trying out this first piece here, and I'm going to fast forward as you see that I go ahead and select some ephemera and put it on down. So I'm trying out this next piece here, and I think that those colors look really sweet there, but I'm finding an even better location for it, which is on this page. I think that the leaves mimic the leaves in the background so beautifully and coordinate with the side trim that I've got going on the other page. So now we're going to go ahead and make some ephemera. The first thing that I did was cut out these little images of cards from magazines. That's such a great way to make a journal card. And I mounted it on cardstock. And now all I'm doing is embellishing it by hot gluing on some of these sweet little orangey foil flowers onto where those dots are to pretty that up. So now I've got this great journal card, and I've got this journal card. So I've got two of those made. Next, this could either be a belly band on a page, or it could be a tall tag. And this is a Junky Junk free calendar that came. And so I think that is so great, and I think this is perfect to write on. So what I'm gonna do is glue this onto this, and I'm gonna just go ahead and try to go to the edges. And you know what, if I don't get it all the way to the edge and it comes up, no big deal. I'll just go in with a little bit of glue and glue it on afterwards. I think that looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that on down. So next, all I'm going to do is take my scissors and go ahead and trim around the excess of this paper. Now you could use a paper trimmer, but I think this is just as fast. So now I've got my little journal out and I'm trying to figure out how I want to use it. And I think what I'm going to do is use it as a side tuck. The first thing I'm doing is just folding up the bottom and I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. I am terrible at measuring, so I like to use that method. And then I decided, you know what, let me just get these little pinking shears out and use this to add a little bit of a decorative edge with hardly any effort at all. So now I'm just applying glue to the edges and along the bottom to go ahead and get this ready to attach in place. And as I am putting that down, I am noticing on the bottom, it needs just a little bit of something. So I have my little bag of scraps out here and I pull out a couple of pieces of things, a piece of burlap and a leftover piece of trim. And I think I'll make just a small little cluster with those two pieces. And you can see here that I've cut that burlap down to size. I'm fraying the edges and figuring out which direction I want my little piece of trim to go in. And I'm going to go ahead and attach those down with some hot glue. Later, I might put in like a word there. I think that would be so pretty. Now, I also have the other half of that image that I really liked from the calendar. So what I'm deciding is how tall I want to make this next piece to be. I took one of my scraps and I'm gone ahead and cut it on down to size. And I'm going to glue it onto the back. So again, what I'm doing is taking my scissors and I'm going to go ahead and trim around all the excess of this. And then once I've got that done, I am going to decide what to put on the top. And I've got this little rosette that was given to me, which was made out of a cupcake liner. And I think what I'm going to do is just fold it in half and use that as a topper. And so now you can see that I have cut that in half. And what I'm going to do is just apply a bit of hot glue to the base, attach it to the front, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing for the back, and then add the additional glue onto the top to hold the pieces together firmly. And now that I've got those in place, I decided, you know what, I want to add a sentiment to this. And so I've got this sweet sticker that says family time. And I'm battling with the little stick-em on the back and I'm losing. So I decide I'm just going to go ahead and add some hot glue and put that on in place. Next, what I want to do is add a little bit of trim on here. So I've got my scrap piece and I'm adding that with just a bit of hot glue, and I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess. So next, I've got this piece of Tim Holtz packaging, and I thought this would make such a great pocket. I've got this awesome image from a catalog, and I love the wrought iron. So what I'm going to do is figure out where I want to place it on there, fold it to the size that I want, cut it down, and then glue it on into place. So now that I've got that glued in, I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the excess. And then I'm trying to figure out what I want on the bottom. And I got this awesome flyer that was in the mail, and I thought those fall leaves on the bottom were so gorgeous. So I'm just kind of going ahead and making a note of how big I want that. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that to size. Okay, so I've done my rough cut. Now I'm just applying my art glitter glue to the bottom of the pocket, and I'm gone ahead and I'm lining up my piece right there, and then I'm going to trim away all of the excess from the bottom. And so now what I want to do is just add one more little zhuzh up on this. And I thought jute string or jute twine would be the perfect accent. So I've wrapped it around twice and then I tied it in a knot. So if it comes undone, it'll still stay put. And then I'm tying it in a sweet little bow and gonna trim off the excess. Now, one thing I like to do is to anchor it in the back so it makes sure it does not come off. So I'm just taking a scrap piece of paper here. I'm adding some hot glue onto it and I'm putting it over the strings on the back to hold it in place. There you go. So now I've got one more scrap of that same flyer that I love, and I want to turn that into a tag. So what I'm doing is I'm applying glue stick to the cardboard, and because the paper is very, very thin that I am adding to this, and this is just a cut off of some coffee dyed paper. Now that I've got that glued on, I just want to trim off a little bit of the excess, and I want to cut it down to the size of the tag that I want. And now I'm going to take the template that I have made of cardstock with angle cuts, and I'm going to use that to cut the tag edges on the corners. So now what I want to do is to make a hole in the top of the tag to be able to put some goodies in it. I love using a slot punch with that slanted hole on tall tags, and I'm also just clipping the bottom ends to make it easier to slide in and out of a pocket. And now I'm taking my scrap fabric left over from the cover, and I'm cutting just a small piece of it. I am going to rip it to make the edge frayed and also to have it be the right thickness that I want. I'm just going to weave that right through that hole. I'm going to twist the fabric so both right sides are facing forward. I'm going to go ahead and measure. I'm going to cut that off. And then what I'm going to do next is add the orange scrap of satin ribbon that I have to tie it in a knot first, and then ultimately in a bow to add the perfect topper to this tag. There we go, and just go ahead and cut that piece off. Okay, that is just gorgeous. So with that, I think we'll call it. So we made 6 pieces of ephemera in just this little bit of time, utilizing Junky Junk and our scraps. So I am always in love with those kinds of projects. So tell me if you guys are going to be doing the thankfulness challenge, which is to say at least 3 things that you are thankful for each day. I am definitely going to be doing that, and I hope that you will join me. And I'll be sharing more of my journal through that process as well as the collab. So thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.